So I've heard you say lots of times that when you understand the vibrational cause of a disease, you'll know the cure. Do you mean one disease, one cause, or is the vibrational cause individual? So, I'm the autism person. All autism, same cause or different cause? All heart disease, one vibrational cause or different vibrational causes?
Technically all different because, and we're going to wrap back around and explain this fully. Everything that you're living in any moment in time is about nothing more than the vibrational variance between who you're letting yourself be and who life has caused you to become. 100%. In other words, you're living life in that gap. So if you're happy, you're thinking thoughts that have you aligned. If you're sad, you're not. Period. If you're healthy, you're in alignment. If you're sick, you're not. Period. In other words, everything that you and everyone else is living is about this gap. However, you're all unique in the components of your gap. In other words, you didn't all have the same intentions coming in, and you weren't all exposed to the same life experiences as you were, and you weren't all living the same thing and therefore shooting off rockets of desires. You're so unique in what you're building in terms of your vibrational escrow, and you're unique in terms of the way life's touching you and what you're thinking. So rather than complicate it by trying to say this kind of combination of thoughts equals this disease, we think that it's much, much more beneficial to say there's ease and there's dis-ease. There's feeling good and there's feeling bad. There's feeling terrible and there's feeling less terrible, and there's feeling less terrible, and there's feeling even better, and there's feeling even better, and there's feeling even better, and there's feeling even better. In other words, there are really big variables. A woman said to us one day, "Abraham, I'm so sick. I've got this and this and this and this." There were several bad labels already tied to her toe. And she said, "My friend is negative and I am positive. My friend is healthy and I am sick. What's wrong with this picture?" And we said, the variable is, if your stream's moving fast and you're not going with it, your stream's beating up on you. If your stream's moving more slowly and you're not going with it, there's not as much resistance. And so what it comes round to is the combination of who you've become and how you're letting yourself be in relationship to that is everything. So contentment is the balance between desire and belief. That's contentment. So let's say you really, really, really want something and you really, really, really believe it. So you got really, really fast moving energy going that you're really, really, really up to speed with. So there's no contradiction in your energy. You would feel contentment. Let's say you don't want so much. So your stream's not moving very fast, but you're in alignment with that. You've got contentment. And so what we're saying is we have no right, nor would we ever want to say you should be over here, or you should be over here, or you should be over here, because you all get to choose. The only thing we want to help you to understand is how to be in alignment with your energy stream, and there are not two people that have the same combinations of factors.
So when it comes to understanding a disease, is it one person at a time in the way that people this morning have been talking about being healers, or as opposed to big scientific principles of disease?
It's not uncommon to find people who have had deep-seated resentment for long periods of time demonstrating similar diseases. But we would never say that causes that, because the variables are so many, and it gets people off on the wrong track. In fact, in the same way, we've talked a lot about appreciation and love, and we talk about frustration and overwhelmment, and we talk about anger and fear and depression, and you get a sense of the range of emotions that there are, and so many more that there's not even time to talk about. And yet we're not really trying to get anyone to pick a certain emotion and strive for it, because we know that if you're in depression and you are trying to follow your bliss, you can't get a whiff of bliss. The frequencies are too far apart. So if we were a teacher or a healer or an individual just trying to find our own place, we would be reaching for feelings of relief, which means improvement from where I am, which means turning in the direction of my stream. And we were sort of touching on this earlier. You don't have to be over there in the high, good feeling energy on the brink of or in the middle of a manifestation of something in order to feel good. You just have to not be in opposite vibration of it. Once you get moving in the direction of what you want, you begin to feel better and better and better and better. And if you're wise enough to be able to note the difference in feeling more relief or less relief, then you've got control of your experience. It's what we call quantifying the journey, making the journey make sense to you. Your physical, geographical journeys make sense to you. You know how to get from point A to point B. You've got maps and directional guides and navigational systems. You don't get out there and get disappointed because you understand what it requires to get from one place to another, and you understand the steps that it takes, and you make the steps, and most of you don't feel depressed on your journey. You feel eager or optimistic along your way. But many of your journeys, like from not enough money to more money, or from a sick body to a well body, you don't let yourself feel optimistic until you get to where you think you want to be, but you can't get to where you want to be until you do feel optimistic. So you've got to find a way to make it an emotional journey. What we mean when we say quantify it, you got to understand that everything's vibrational, and you shift a vibration long before it manifests. 99.99% of every creation is completed vibrationally before you see any physical evidence of it. That's what we were talking about when we say first there's thought, you think about it longer, then there's thought form, where some can begin to see it, and in time there is a manifestation. But everything is thought long before the factors begin to culminate in order to make up the manifestation that you want. Most humans are sort of fixated on a desire to see what they want before they believe it. And we want you to understand that you've got to believe it before you can see it. And so what happens, you have people all around you demonstrating the very successes that you want. But instead of using the evidence of their successes to shore up your own belief, then you instead serve to separate their capabilities with your capabilities, their worthiness with your worthiness. So you use yet other excuses when there's evidence all around you that you can be or do or have anything. If this time-space reality has the wherewithal to inspire a desire, it has the wherewithal to deliver the full-blown manifestational results of that desire, provided you line up with it. But you got to be more visionaries and less what-is-ionaries. In other words, you can't keep looking at what is and move very far from what is. You can't move at all from what is if what is has your undivided attention, you see. So that's why we say to the doctors and scientists, when you get to the vibrational cause of things, and by that we mean talk to your patients about how they feel and try to cheer them up instead of giving them drugs. Talk to your patients about how they feel and let them know that others have felt that way and have moved through it. Don't take the worst case scenario and play it back to them and then be surprised when their fear kills them.
I've heard you talk lots of times about when small children come with an illness or a disability or whatever, that some of it belongs to the child and the child's choice coming in, and some of it may belong to the parent.
It all belongs to the child.
It all belongs to the child.
No one can create in your reality.
So when we see families that have several children who have autism, is that 3 kids making the same choice to come in like that? Or is it a genetic or constitutional or behavioral phenomena?
Well, it is not anything apart from vibration that is playing out through cracks of least resistance. So now this goes back to the first question that you asked. So let's say that there is a lot of worry in an environment, not just the household, but in the culture. and specifically in the household, and specifically in the relationship. Let's say there is a lot of resistance going on, and a child is born into that environment. It is logical that the influence of that vibration would, that's what we were saying, when you are source energy, you have one stream. The moment you're born, your energy splits a little bit, and we acknowledge that there are environments that are much more conducive to resistance than others, and that's why you want to know, is it at the doorstep of the parents? And we say no, because the parent can't vibrate for the child. And then you would rightly say yes, but this parent's vibration did influence this child. And we say yes, but any child coming in to an environment to which it's going to be influenced knew full well coming in and made the choice to come into that, understanding that they have guidance and knowing that they would be able to find their way. In other words, you just can't look at what anybody else is living and make any accurate evaluation about whether it is something they intended, whether it's something they should be living, whether it's something that's gone wrong, or whether it's something that's gone right. You just can't decide for anyone. Esther was thinking even about these fires, that there are houses that are burning down and the house next door to them is not burning down. And Esther said, and you can't say that the person whose house didn't burn down got it right and the person whose house did burn down got it wrong, because you don't know what that experience has put into vibrational escrow. You don't know all of the dynamics. You don't know who that person is coming in. You don't know how much better their future experience will be from this catalytic experience. In other words, no one can make those determinations for anyone else, and you only can make them for yourself right here in this moment based upon how you feel. Speculating about the past or even fantasizing about the future is really not very productive effort. The effort is in guiding yourself to alignment now, guiding yourself to alignment now, guiding yourself to alignment now. The contrast has done all of the creating. You've already done all the asking. You set this into motion long before you got here. Your work now is to feel as good as you can feel now, to feel as good as you can feel now, to feel as good as you can feel now. But my soup's cold. To feel as good as you can feel now, to feel as good as you can feel now, to feel as good as you can feel now. But they brought me the wrong soup. To feel as good as you can feel now, to feel as good as you can feel now, to feel as good as you can feel now. And there are many people who would say, oh, why would anybody worry about something so inconsequential as that? And we say, nobody gets to decide what's important, but you know whether you're complaining and whether you're praising. You know whether you're appreciating or whether you're blaming. You know whether you're in alignment or whether you're not. You can feel whether you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, or whether you're not. You can feel whether you're thriving. You can feel how clear your thoughts are, how confused you are. You can feel how muddled you are. You can feel how vital and alive your body feels. You can feel how resilient you are. You can feel how good this walk feels, or how you're dragging your sorry tail down the street. In other words, you can feel how you feel. You know in this moment how you're doing. You know. And once you know, you can't ever not know. You cannot apply what you know, but you can never not know. And you know what? Now you know. Now you know pointing upstream is more and more intolerable. And this is the thing that we really wanted to get to. You are this source energy being who so powerfully and eagerly made the decision to come forth into this physical experience. And you know at every level of that being that life is supposed to go well for you. And when it doesn't, you sort of freak out. And well, you should. In other words, negative emotion is the tantrum that you have in the momentary awareness that you're not letting yourself be who you really are. And our effort here in these conversations are to help you to stop blaming others or yourself and make more peace with whatever's going on, so that you can let the natural stream take you to the work that you've already done through the living of life. Step one says ask, and life makes you do that. You don't have to say, I'm going to ask. We don't hold seminars to teach you how to ask. We know that life is doing that for you. We don't hold seminars on teaching you how to have source answer what you're asking for. That's been in place for a very long time. You don't even have to give a thought to how it comes about. But you do have to keep an ear to the ground about whether you think more about the absence of money or the presence of money, the absence of wellness or the presence of wellness, the absence of niceness or the presence of niceness, the absence of clarity or the presence of clarity. In other words, you just have to pay attention to how you feel. And when you finally come to the place where nothing is more important than that you feel good, so that you are not willing to even have conversations about reality, or the conversations that you have are brief, as you're in contract negotiations or dealing in interpersonal relationships with others, as there are things that you think that you need to think about. We agree, you need to think about them, and you need to come to agreements, and you need to come to conclusions, but you don't need to torture yourselves like you tend to do as you are sifting through the data, because you've already sifted through enough data to know what you want. Now line up with it and let the universe give it to you easily. Why do you make it so hard for the universe to give it to you that you have to die to get it? You see, it should be easier. Should be a lot easier. Should be easier for all of you.